Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another TheeSportsScoop video. Crazy. We're already on NFL Week 3 predictions. As it stands, I'll quickly do the intro before I get into what our records are, or specifically what mine is very bad. But today, as you guys saw, we're doing our NFL Week 3 picks. Again, we don't have all four of us. We basically had us for the first video, and I'm not sure if we'll ever get all four of us again, but we're hoping. Surge is at a wedding right now, so he'll be in sometime. But today is just us three. As I said with Charlie last week, he'll be sending in his picks. So when we have the graphic after we all do 4 picks for that certain game, his name will be in there. So you still see his pick. He's just not recording. But the part we all love in the beginning, as it stands, in first place, I believe, is Surge, if I'm not
Three-way
wrong.
tie.
It's a three-way tie. Again, this is being recorded before the Packers and Chiefs game, but those will be updated. Or the Packers and Lions one may not, because this may be posted Monday, but they will be updated. So I'm last, but it's all right. I made a good comeback from what I was 5-11. I'm completely fine with
You're
where
still
I am.
4 games back. It doesn't.
Yeah, but I'm still
difference.
completely fine where I am now. But without further ado, we go into all of our picks, not scores, but giving all of our breakdown of each game. Without further ado, so much NFL content coming, mock drafts and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Now, starting with the first game in week 1, we've got the least intriguing Thursday night matchup of all time, the Carolina Panthers and the Houston Texans. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, not very intriguing. To be fair, the Texans put up, so Tyrod Taylor, I'm not sure, so many quarterbacks were injured week 1. So it's looking like Davis Mills maybe at the helm for the Texans against a Panthers team that looked good. I mean, you guys got that prediction right against the Saints. It actually looks good. Sam Darnold looks like a serviceable quarterback. Obviously, McCaffrey is dangerous. I'm going to take the Panthers here. Again, I could see the Texans winning this one, but with Davis Mills there, I think they're a weaker team. Give me the Panthers. Charlie, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I am hesitant to just take the Panthers without a second thought, as I kind of did against the Saints. But I think that if Tyrod Taylor was there, I might actually pick the Texans for this one. But with Davis Mills at the helm, it makes it a really close one, and I am actually going to lean towards the Panthers. I don't think the Texans have the defense to stop McCaffrey. Dylan, what about you?
The Texans will make it a close game. They've got everything that they need offensively. They've got the running back by committee that's been working very well against bad and good defenses. And weapon-wise, Brandon Cooks has been excellent, and they've found a really stable tight end option in Pharaoh Brown. But the Panthers' defense is going to be too good for them to be able to take down. Give me the Panthers. Moving on to the next one, though, we've got an AFC West clash between the Kansas City Chiefs and the underwhelming Los Angeles Chargers. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, this again, I mean, it's at the end of the day, when's going to be that one game we're going to go against the Chiefs, and it's not going to be this one. Again, Chiefs are going up against very good competition in the Ravens, like in 20 minutes less, actually, in 8. So we'll be seeing that. Unless Mahomes gets injured or one of the big players gets injured, the Chiefs, no one's really going to go against them. I'm not going to either. I would say underwhelming is a good way to kind of put the Chargers, obviously now 1-1. But they put up a good fight against a pretty comparable Cowboys offense. But I'll take the Chiefs here. Again, you know why. Never going against Mahomes and the team that just consistently knows how to win and put up points. What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah, it's a really tough one for me because I'm not saying I'm going to go up against the Chiefs for this one, but I think it's a strange spot the Chargers are in because the Super Bowl champions Buccaneers beat the Cowboys by 2 points. The Cowboys then went and beat the Chargers by 1 or 2 points?
3.
So 3 points. And so I don't know what to think of the Chargers because I think the Chargers are good, but I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders or even capable of putting up a fight against the Bucs right now. But they put up a fight against a team who put up a fight against the Bucs. So I just don't know where to peg the Chargers. I am going with the Chiefs in this one. I'm not going to bet against Mahomes, not against Herbert. And I think the Chargers could go places this year, but I don't know that they will. Dylan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. The Chargers, they've looked good defensively, but they have had a lot left to be, I forgot the phrase that's
answered.
Said. A lot left to be answered offensively. I'm going with the Chiefs. They just have a better team, better roster. So pretty simple pick. Moving on to the next one, though, we've got one of the most exciting, flashy offenses against one of the weirdest places to have a franchise. We've got the Arizona Cardinals and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So which is which?
No, Arizona's normal. Why would you
Yeah.
put a franchise in Jacksonville? Such
Yeah.
a random
I
place.
think that's not the debatable one. I think the debatable one is the flashy offense being the Jaguars.
Yeah. No, I think a great game. Obviously, Kyler Murray, I would say, came back a little bit to reality. He came back to the Kyler Murray we know, throwing 2 interceptions against the Vikings. Still fantastic. I think still kind of that dark horse MVP, obviously, as they squeaked out a win against the Vikings by 1 point, 34-33. To me, the storyline for this game is this Jaguars secondary is not going to be able to handle AJ Green, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, who looked fantastic, and DeAndre Hopkins. Like, they have 4 really good receivers, and obviously they found a tight end in Maxwell. That might not even be his name. I forgot his name. 87. Max Williams. Excuse me. Again, it's an offensive line that was able to hold up in a defense that I think has found, I guess, an identity, obviously, as they did in week 1, getting 5 sacks out of Chandler Jones. But I'm gonna go Cardinals here. I think it won't be that Trevor Lawrence will struggle. I simply think it's just an offense that we know can put up 30 plus against every team. The Jaguars don't have a special defense, so give me the Cardinals here.
Yeah, I personally don't think this will be close. I think, as you said, Murray threw 2 picks this week, which not great. 3 picks in 2 games is just okay. Especially, it's really just not that good, especially for a quarterback like Kyler Murray, who could be a dark horse MVP. But on the bright side, he has over 700 all-purpose yards and 9 touchdowns in 2 games. And if you're going to put up 9 touchdowns by 7 points, if you're going to put up 63 points in 2 games, you're pretty much unbeatable. Then they also have a rushing game. Not a strong one, but Chase Edmonds is not a bad running back. So I just don't think that this Jacksonville offense or defense will come anywhere close to being able to compete with the Arizona offense. And if you're going to beat Arizona, you need at least one of those units to compete. Dylan?
Yep, Arizona's hot right now. No other way of putting it. They're just a better team than Jacksonville, even when they're out of form. But you're not taking down Kyler Murray when he is this burning. So give me the Cardinals. Now moving on to the next one. We've got 3 clean sweeps so far. We've got Chicago and Cleveland up next. What do you think?
Trap game. This is one Cleveland could lose. I really, just in terms of it, when we did predictions last year and we didn't have records, I would go a lot more loose and predict a lot more upsets. But this year, I do want to get some games behind my belt. This is a tougher one. I certainly think it's a Chicago Bears team that looked better behind Justin Fields. That offense looked more flashy. And I think we kind of forgot about that defense, obviously, as they got that pick 6 with Roquan Smith today. I think that
was excellent.
Yeah, on both sides of the ball, there's quality. And again, it was a Cleveland team that didn't really get the separation I wanted them to from a poor Texans team, especially when Davis Mills came in. It's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bears. I'm gonna get my upset this week. I'm gonna go Chicago Bears. I feel like I haven't been being as risky. I'm gonna go Bears this week. Hopefully they can win. I'm not sure, but
I don't know what is up with Andy Dalton's injury.
Yeah, that's the thing. It depends.
So I personally don't think it matters for this week's prediction. I don't think the Bears, while the Bears do have a good defense, I think that the amount of offensive weapons that Cleveland brings to the table is just hard for any defense to keep up with. And Nick Chubb is playing well. Kareem Hunt's playing well. Baker Mayfield's doing okay. They're winning. But I think that the Browns have a good enough defense is what's going to win them the game. And the Bears offense has just looked really shaky. If Justin Fields is at the helm, that's a rookie who hasn't played a full game yet. And if Andy Dalton's at the helm, well, it's Andy Dalton. He's also not great. I think David Montgomery's the biggest issue for the Browns defensively, but I think they'll be able to contain him relatively well. I'm going to go for the Browns in this one.
And I only say that because OBJ and Jarvis Landry may not be playing.
I was thinking to myself, this might be a trap game. This might be a Bears win. But I thought about it more over the course of the last couple of minutes. And the way that you beat the Cleveland Browns is by beating them with the deep ball. And right now, Matt Nagy and Andy Dalton, I don't know if it'll stay the same with Fields, but they're limiting the route running of the receivers. They're not going to be able to get past that good pass rush and the really good press coverage that Cleveland play against. Give me the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
Moving on to the next one, we've got Washington versus Buffalo. What do you think, Ian?
Again, a tougher one. It's a really good defense, and who did the Buffalo Bills struggle against? The team that had the good defense, and that was the Steelers. So I think again, it's a closer one. I think what I love about predictions later is you've seen the teams play, so it's much. That's why I think week 1 I was 5-11 because I mean, again, no excuses. I won't have excuses. You guys were 8-8, but you know, people get a lot more wrong because you don't see the teams play. And I think now looking at it, it's still an underwhelming Washington team, but I think better with Heineke at the helm. A more potent offense with Heineke there. And I think Terry McLaurin has proven himself to be a top 10 receiver. He looks fantastic. Really, no one has been able to guard him yet. And he's gone up against some decent, defenses. I'm going to go Buffalo Bills. I'm not going to be risky here. But again, this is a game where it really depends in that second quarter because it's the Bills. Like if they come out against the Dolphins, who, I mean, Dylan, have a good defense and put up 21 and stop them. Then it's the Bills game to win. And I think the Bills I think that first game was a fluke. I think this team is still on the road to get 14, 15 wins. So I'm going to go Bills, but I think again, it could go either way, depending on how you see it. Charlie, what do you think?
This is another rough game to predict because the Bills shut out an offenseless Miami today. And I know Tua got hurt, but there was no source of offense at all for Miami. And I know that's mostly because Miami doesn't have that many good offensive weapons, but you got to give a little bit of credit to the Bills defense. They scored 0 points. And I mean, if they had scored 10, maybe you can say, yeah, the Dolphins offense wasn't great, but a shutout is another story. Now, I think that it's different because I don't know what's happening with Josh Allen. He just hasn't looked as dangerous this season to start. But I think that this Washington defense is going to be strong, especially against the run. And Buffalo, 3 of their 5 touchdowns were rushing touchdowns this week. So I'm actually going to go with Washington. I think the run defense is good enough. And I think Terry McLaurin has been so on fire that he could be in for another big game. Dylan?
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go with Buffalo. I've gone with all of the better sides, which I'm sure that'll change eventually. But I don't think that Washington, their pass defense, is able to keep up with the weapons Buffalo has. You saw them struggle against the Giants, and that is far inferior wide receiver group. Now you go up against Emmanuel Sanders, Gabe Davis, Cole Beasley, and obviously Stephon Diggs. You're going to have a lot of problems. And it's all about momentum in the NFL. A win for Washington by very, very little doesn't compare to the divisional win shutout for Buffalo. Give me the Bills. Now moving on to another divisional match, AFC South, Colts, Titans. This is usually a week 17 decider, but right now we have it here. So what do we think?
Yeah, another really good game. I think the Colts, again, have been one of the bigger teams who have come out and been a bit disappointing, obviously losing to the Rams. Now they're 0-2. And then, again, it's a Titans team that obviously we literally saw before, like a minute before we recorded, win in overtime in Seattle. Derrick Henry gets 3 touchdowns. I was literally took a shower for 10 minutes and get 44 fantasy points. Thank you, Charlie. But, again, it's going to be a really good matchup because these divisional matchups aren't just – the team who may be inferior is going to go out with a fight because they want to prove their dominance in this division. I'm going to go Titans. Derrick Henry, I was like, is there a chance he's not going to have an insane season? And then he did this today. So I think that story is ended. But I'm going to go Titans here. Favorites. Wentz hasn't started very well, and that offense doesn't look great. So give me the Titans here.
Yeah, I think that arguably the best offensive performer for the Colts this week was Michael Pittman. We saw a big game from him. I think 60 yards and a touchdown, roughly. And I like that. I think he's a good player, and he's starting to show. But the Colts just don't have either the offensive threat or the defensive threat to hold Derrick Henry in check. And Jonathan Taylor has not had a strong start to the season. I think if he had a strong start to the season, it would come down to Jonathan Taylor versus Derrick Henry, which can only ever be decided one way. But the Colts would stand more of a chance. And with Derrick Henry in the backfield for the Titans, the Colts don't stand a chance. I think it could be a close game just because it's Colts-Titans, but I think the Titans, this will be a relatively easy win for the Titans.
I just want to say, first off, I love how quickly Kean's opinion on Derrick Henry changed. It went from, I said it was a fluke, the Titans performance. He's like, I don't think it's a fluke. And now that narrative's dead. But anyway, I think that the Colts, if Carson Wentz was confirmed to play, then I think the Colts would win this game. But with that late in the game injury, if Jacob even has a shot at getting some snaps, they have no shot. So I'm going to give it to the Titans.
There you have it.
Moving into the next one, we've got the battle of the teams who have lost their Hall of Fame quarterbacks within the last 2 years, the Saints and the Patriots. What do you think?
Oh man, they get tougher each week. Like, this is a tough one. This genuinely is a tough game to predict. Mac Jones right now looks like the best rookie quarterback.
I agree.
And whether that be, Trey Lance not playing, Justin Fields not getting a ton of time, Zach Wilson threw 4 interceptions. We'll get to that later, but Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked like the number 1 overall pick. And Mac Jones looks good. Again, it was Jameis like, oh my God, 4 touchdowns, then goes into this week. 5 touchdowns, excuse me. And then goes into this week and it's like, oh, he's not that good unless he's 20 yards when he gets the ball 20 yards from the end zone. So I think it's going to go down to coaching. And then even there, it's Peyton against Belichick. And they're both fantastic coaches. This is so tough for me to predict. Lattimore will be back. I'm going to go Patriots. Very, very tough one. This is the hardest one I've had to predict yet this week.
Yeah, I don't think this is the hardest one as I chose Washington over the Bills. But I think this one, for me, again, it could go either way, but for me, it's a pretty easy decision on the Patriots. Now, the Saints had a fantastic week 1 showing, but then again, dropped way off in week 2 and did nothing well. And I think the Patriots, while, again, it's amazing. They picked off Zach Wilson 4 times. Yes, it's only a rookie, but it's good for morale. And Jameis Winston is a pickable quarterback. And this Patriots defense knows how to get interceptions, whether the quarterback's seeing ghosts, Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, or it's just Jameis Winston. This Patriots defense will end up with 2+ interceptions week in, week out if they're not playing Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. And even Aaron Rodgers, you just never know at this point. But I think that this Patriots defense is just too strong for the Saints. And offensively, I like the way Mac Jones is playing. I like the way Damian Harris is playing for the first time. I think this is a pretty easy one for the Patriots. The Saints were a fluke.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Patriots. I don't think that the Saints were a fluke. I think that they managed their way to destroy the Packers because of how badly the Packers played. But I think a lot of that has to be said about how well the defense played. And I think the loss to Carolina doesn't completely show the full story. That being said, I'm going with the Patriots. I don't think that Jameis Winston will be able to bring his very mediocre supporting cast to beat the Patriots. Their defense is too solid. Mac Jones, while he looks like he's the best rookie, still hasn't shown anything out of the ordinary for me. The offense doesn't look excellent, but it'll be enough. So I'm going to give it to the Patriots.
That's very funny. Like, there are very few, incredibly standout rookies so far.
Yeah. I would say Jamar Chase has been the best.
Yeah.
Moving into the next game.
J.C. Horn out of the pick this season.
Yes,
this
and
week.
Sertan as well. But moving on to the next game, these are 2 of the worst teams in the league. We've got the Falcons and the Giants.
It's so funny because I can't. Oh, thank you. Well, I don't have the game in front of me. I love hearing Dylan's instructions. I try and decipher it before he actually says the game. I was not expecting. I don't think the 2 worst teams. I mean, maybe the team with no quarterback, but I think you can't call the Giants or Daniel Jones that bad. Daniel Jones looked good against Washington. I won't hear it. Daniel Jones looked good against Washington. When you give him a pocket, he can throw the ball, and he did that well against Washington defense. This is tough because it's do I keep my Giants pride and go for the Giants? Because I think this is a game where it could go either way. And I hate to be, 0-3, and I hate it because I predicted Washington. It's oh yeah, I got the prediction right, but you went against your own team. So I'm gonna go Giants here. I think it's the kind of matchup where it's close enough, and I'll go my team. I'll put some trust in my team. So I'm gonna go Giants here. I think, again, offensive matchup. I think now going to week 3, that chemistry between Galladay and Daniel Jones should be improved, hopefully. And Saquon, going to week 3 of more getting healthy. He looked really good against Washington, or at least for those few plays he had. So I'm gonna go Giants.
Yeah, so I actually have reasons. I am going to pick my Giants.
There we go.
But, again, it may be a little bit of bias. I am a Giants fan. I have been and always will be. But I think the Giants have played. Daniel Jones did look good. The Giants should have beat Washington. I'm gonna go out and say it. Washington got lucky on a penalty that screwed the Giants, and Daniel Jones should have had a long rushing touchdown that was called back by a bad holding that wasn't a holding. I think that, so I know that the Falcons have conceded 80 points in 2 games, and the Giants have played against 2 good defenses in Washington and Denver. Denver's only conceded 26 points in 2 games. 2 good defenses so far, and I think the Giants could have a big offensive showing. And defensively, it could be tough, but I think the main Falcons weapon right now is Calvin Ridley, and that's what you got to watch out for. But James Bradbury is one of the top corners in the league. He should have Ridley not in his pocket, but he should be able to hold him enough for the Giants offense to do their thing. Dylan?
Yeah, I'm going to have the Falcons winning this game, and I'm not going to just do it for the sake of doing it. I'm going to do it because the Giants' defense has looked very lackluster, and you're going on about James Bradbury being one of the top cornerbacks in the league, and that's this season. I know it's 2 games, but he has been burned by Jerry Jeudy. He has been absolutely manhandled by Terry McLaurin, and now we go against probably the best route runner other than Devontae Adams and Calvin Ridley. I don't think he's going to be able to handle it. It's going to be a bit of a shootout because both defenses, I wouldn't say the Giants defense is bad, but I think the Falcons offense will be able to pick them apart in ways. Not much running of the ball. It's going to be a shootout. Give me the Falcons.
I mean, who has more interceptions, Bradbury or Xavier Howard?
Xavier Howard.
No, he doesn't.
He has 1 this year. Bradbury has none.
Bradbury had an interception against Washington.
Oh, my bad. He has 1. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know Xavier had one.
All
right, continue.
Xavier had a forced fumble, though. And I thought interceptions didn't matter, right? Yeah. Then we got... Okay, so why are you bringing it up?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I was saying interceptions don't matter, like not talent one. James Bradbury had a great read.
We can have another argument about this.
So did X-Men. X-Men had a really good... He jumped right in front of the pass. It was really good.
No one asked Dylan. Let's get on to the next game.
Right. Moving on, we've got another divisional matchup. AFC North. We got the Bengals and the Steelers, both 1-1. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to describe Ben Roethlisberger is a potato with legs. Like, he's just not a good he's not. And like we've been polite, like when we present, like we're not like, we're not people who like, the people who don't know what they're saying, they just curse and we're generally very analytic. That's the word I've been using. But Ben Roethlisberger is not a good quarterback. You kept on to him for a year too long and he's holding them back. While I say that, I think the Steelers were actually, I don't know. This is so tough because TJ Watt might be out. Steelers, I'm not confident at all. Give me the Steelers, but it's very, very tough. Charlie, what do you think?
So I'll start us with, as we speak, Tyrann Mathieu just got a pick 6, and I'm mad because that means Lamar has -2 points, and Tyreek hasn't touched the ball. But Bengals Steelers, this is a tough one. Joe Burrow did not look impressive. Give me the Steelers, and for that reason only.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers because if Joe Burrow couldn't keep up with the Bears pass rush, he threw 3 interceptions, I think. He's not going to be able to put up with the greatest I would say the best edge rusher in the league right now, which is TJ Watt. So I'm going to go with the Steelers pretty comfortably, although agreed, Ben Roethlisberger is a potato with legs, and I'll say a half of an arm. So yeah, potato. But moving on to the last game in the 1:00 schedule, we've got the Detroit Lions versus the Baltimore Ravens. What do you think, Ian?
Do I need to explain this? Do I need to think? Give me the Ravens.
All right.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
That's it. That's literally it.
So, obviously, the Lions have not played their Week 2 matchup as of recording this.
And
they look good. They looked good Week 1 against the Niners, but the Ravens are another team, and if the Lions blow out the Packers tomorrow night, maybe I'll reconsider. But even then, I've got the Ravens no matter what on this one.
Yep, I love Dan Campbell. Not gonna say the Lions. They're gonna take the Ravens though. Give me the Ravens. Pretty simple. Pretty
I was watching the video
now
of him mic'd up. Like he is not smart.
He's a monster.
He's like not like smart.
He's a motivator, though. He's got his coordinators to do that for him. He knows how to manage players. You can see it in the players' eyes.
All right.
But moving into the first game of the 4 o'clock slate, we have the team with the literally easiest first 3 games of all time, and the Jets. So we got the Broncos and the Jets. What do you guys think?
Oh man, if Zach Wilson's throwing 4 interceptions against the Patriots, he's gonna be throwing a lot against a really, really, really good Broncos defense. It's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate because it's kind of Darnold again. But you know, that's 5 in the last 2 games. Like I don't want to say it's unacceptable, but you know, 4 is just way too much. You look at the interceptions, he's not reading right. You know, he's not kind of looking downfield right. He's not going through his progressions. He's just not being smart. And something that we thought Zach Wilson was coming out of the draft. But yeah, I don't got the Jets here. Give me the Broncos.
So who do you guys think the favorite for this game is?
Broncos.
All right. You know how every week you have to pick an upset? It's not going to be this game. Don't worry.
Good.
The Broncos are taking this one. I was thinking about it for a minute just for the sake of saying the Jets would win. But Zach Wilson just
someone always does enough. It was me, then it was Dylan.
Maybe Serge has the Jets. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we all had the Giants over the Broncos, so you never know. But I think the Broncos just have a better team right now. Michael Carter looked impressive, but not the corner, the running back. But the Jets just didn't look good enough. Zach Wilson in particular. Broncos. Give me the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos as well. They're a team that's going to beat the bad teams and lose to the good teams. Right now, they haven't played a good team. They're taking a bad team. Give me the Broncos. Now moving on to the very impressive AFC North conqueror in the Las Vegas Raiders and the, as of right now, quarterbackless Miami Dolphins. What do you think, Ian? I need some time to mull my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, wow, man. I mean, underestimating the Raiders. I think this is an offense that actually has production. And as much as I've hated on their coach for saying he's better on television than he is at coaching, he's been pretty good so far. Yeah, I mean, if Jacoby Brissett does what he did against the Bills, it's going to be the Raiders. So I'm going to go Raiders here.
With Tua, I might say the Dolphins, but even then, the Raiders have had a very impressive 2-0 start to the season. If Josh Jacobs is back, it's even more in their favor, but even with Kenyon Drake as the RB1, I've got the Raiders in this one.
For an entirety of a mood switch, I've got my Miami Dolphins taking down the Las Vegas Raiders in week 3. This is
I'm going to kill my
real upset I've had.
Yeah.
First real upset I've had. And I'm saying this regardless of who plays at quarterback. I don't think Tua is going to be healthy for this week. I think Jacoby Brissett's going to walk into Allegiant Stadium and bring back a win. The defense is too solid. They didn't play a great game against Buffalo. I'm not going to say it was a fluke because there are obvious problems to be shown. Yeah. So for the next game, it's a very, very interesting one. 2 of the best teams in the league, in my opinion. We've got the Buccaneers and the Los Angeles Rams. What do you think?
Man, this is a tough one. This is the hardest one. I think this could be one of the best games. It's not the best game we've seen besides maybe the opener, but any game with the Buccaneers and a slightly competent team will be one to watch. Look, I really like Matt Stafford. I think he's found a new home in Los Angeles. I think he's looked really good. I'm not going to go against the Buccaneers. I think still a very high-flying offense. And I'll say, while they may have been close to the Falcons, that game, the Falcons-Buccaneers, will always be close for as long as the NFL is a thing. That game, for some reason, is always close. I don't know why, but that is a close matchup. So I'm going to go Buccaneers here. Again, it'll be one of those things where it could be very close, but I'm going to go Buccaneers. 2 defensive battles.
I have a tough one on this one. I think the Rams are a very good team. I think their offense is grooving, and I think we thought that their defense was going to be the best part of their team this year. But Stafford to Kupp has been a real connection so far. I mean, Kupp has 3 touchdowns so far.
And like 400 yards
Maybe
or something.
4 touchdowns.
Not 400 yards.
He's been off to an amazing start. I think close to 300 yards. I think this Rams team will really put up a good game against the Bucs, but I have a hard time picking Stafford over Brady. And I can see the Bucs losing a bunch of games this season, but I feel like Brady's not going to lose to a team like the Rams. I couldn't tell you why, but I think Brady is too good to lose to the Rams this week.
I don't think you can be too good to lose to the Rams, and I think the Rams are actually going to go and beat the Buccaneers at home. It's a really, really tough game. It's hard to bet against Brady, but I'm going to have to do it here. The defense has looked absolutely incredible for Los Angeles, holding the Chicago Bears to very few points. And even though they had a tight game against the Indianapolis Colts, it wouldn't have been if not for that botched punt. So I'm going to go with the Rams for this game. Now, moving into the next one, we've got the Vikings and the Seahawks. Two very, very interesting offenses. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, Vikings have kind of been killed with the scheduling. Very, very harsh start. Obviously, that tough Bengals loss, which is one you would like to get, especially going, now, obviously, as they played the Cardinals, now the Seahawks. The Seahawks, while they lost to the Titans, obviously have been able to put up points. I think it's a defense that's saying held up now doesn't really make sense. They got 33 put up on them, but defenses are starting to be overrated in the NFL. I said it. That doesn't make sense. But defense is like, I was saying the Bucs defense got a ton of points put up against them. I think when a good offense go against a good defense, it's generally very hard to keep that offense low scoring. That doesn't make any sense because the Bills are held. Don't listen to what I say. I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to go. This is a tough. I'm going to go Seahawks. Give me Seahawks.
So when we went back to that Jets-Broncos game, I did say there was going to be, everybody had to have an upset pick. My upset pick is going to be here. I have the Minnesota Vikings over the Seahawks. I know it's not a massive upset. For some of you, it may seem like a massive upset. The Seahawks didn't look nearly impressive enough against the Titans to me. I think they looked good, and again, they were destroyed by Derrick Henry, and there is no running back in the game that when dominant is as dominant as Derrick Henry, but the one who gets pretty close to it is Dalvin Cook. And Dalvin Cook is going to tear apart an okay Seahawks defense. And Bobby Wagner had, I believe, 18 tackles this week. That's pretty crazy. But
holy shit.
Yeah, he had a lot of tackles. It was ridiculous. But I think that the Vikings offense with Thielen and Jefferson, Cousins isn't looking bad, and Dalvin Cook, I think this offense is good, and the Seahawks defense is not good enough. Seahawks have a good offense, but I'm going to go with the Vikings.
It is still within the first 8 weeks of the season where the Seattle Seahawks are able to put points up on the board. You know how critical I am of the Minnesota Vikings defense. Russell Wilson is cooking. Tyler Lockett is cooking. Give me the Seattle Seahawks. Moving in to the Sunday night game between as of now, maybe not the underperforming Green Bay Packers as of now. That might change as of Monday. And in my opinion, a rather weak San Francisco 49ers team.
Yeah, again, I think generally a very good matchup between the Packers and the 49ers. I think, again, very telling. Will Aaron Rodgers be good again against the Lions tomorrow night? We'll have to see. But I'm going to go in this one. I'm going to go Packers. I think Devontae Adams has consistently been very, very dominant against the 49ers, and I think he'll continue it. So I'm going to go for the Packers.
It's a tough one because although the Niners are 2-0, they haven't necessarily looked impressive. It's a weird start. They played the Lions and the Eagles. Eagles looked impressive in week 1, but not so impressive in week 2. So I am going to go back to the Packers. That could change if Rodgers gets benched again this week, but I'm going to have to go with the Packers. I think they have too good of a team to lose this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers. The 49ers pass offense has not looked very, very in sync, and they've been through 3 running backs already. So although the defense might be able to hold the Packers to very few points, it won't be enough for them as they don't have a good enough offense. Give me the Packers. Now moving on to our Monday night primetime, a divisional match with very little pizzazz. We've got the Cowboys and the Eagles, usually a very feisty one, but these two teams do not seem to be very close in level. What do you think?
I don't think I actually disagree. I think they are quite close. I think Jalen Hurts and this Eagles team is actually good. That defense, surprisingly, out of nowhere is good as well. I'm completely forgetting who they play this week. It's too many games. I don't know why I'm forgetting. Niners, and they lost. You're right. Sorry, they did
11.
lose. This is a tough one. I'm going to go Cowboys because of sheer offensive firepower, but I think it'll definitely be a close one. I, again, wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles can go to win. I think Jalen Hurts is finally their answer. I think him and Devontae Smith is a connection for the future. And I think Kenneth Gainwell maybe coming to take Miles Sanders' job as he scored in the last 2 games. So
I like that.
I'm going to go for the Cowboys.
Yeah, Again, I agree with you, Keen. I don't think they're that different in skill level. I do think the Cowboys have a better roster overall. You can see it when you're just listing names. But I do think the play level is pretty close. And Jalen Hurts has really impressed me in these first couple weeks. He's made a couple of really nice throws. His decision-making is really good. And I like that about him. This Eagles defense held the pretty dominant Atlanta offense to just 6 points in week 1. That's pretty impressive, as we've been talking about how good that Atlanta offense is with Calvin Ridley, and it's really just Calvin Ridley that makes them dominant. But I think the Cowboys offense is another weapon. It's so much better than the Atlanta offense, although the Atlanta offense is good. I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys on this one. I think their offense is just too good.
I'm going with the Cowboys as well, as you probably were able to tell by my prelude. While Jalen Hurts has looked excellent as of now, they look very inefficient in the red zone. And I know that sounds crazy because of how well they did in week 1. They scored a lot of points. But in the red zone, you don't see that same efficiency as you do with a killer team like the Cowboys. So I think based on not only that alone, but also the roster that the Cowboys have, the clear advantages they have at wide receiver compared to cornerback on each side of the football, give me the Cowboys.
All right, there we have it. Week 3 predictions are there. That was our longest video by a mile, but I hope you guys did enjoy it today. Make sure to subscribe, follow. All the links are in our description. Game previews are coming out. Film is coming out. We'll be getting some mock drafts coming out. The NFL season is upon us. This is when this channel is, I would say, the best, not the most active maybe because we're in school, but definitely the best part of the channel obviously is, it's crazy we're already talking about week 3, even though that's not a very high number. I'm going to stop talking. I've been sitting here too long, but I hope you guys enjoy. Key McDermott, Dylan Chalem, Charlie Nidell, Suraj Kadali. You probably saw his name pop up when the predictions come up, but he is away, but he will be in some, obviously our next week, hopefully. And without further ado, we'll see you in the next one.